Hello everyone. In this video I want to share with you something that worked extremely well for me. That is and keeps being, and it has always been a game changer. I think it may be more relevant for men than it is for women, but I have no idea. And actually, now that I've just said that, I think it actually may be extremely relevant for women as well, because it's at the core. It's at the root of our struggling, of our suffering. The way I treat myself when I'm doing inner child work is crucial for it to work, to progress, and to heal, and to make me feel well, and to learn, and to heal, essentially. To let go of everything that needs to be gone. And for me, that no excuses, self-discipline, the kind of military stuff, it didn't serve me well at all during my journey. What did serve me extremely well was to learn how to speak to my inner child and to myself, because it's not just the inner child, it is the inner child, it's also the adult self, to look at him with compassion and to speak with him like I would speak with him, not how I've been taught or conditioned to speak with him. So I don't treat myself like this anymore, that no excuses, because that sounds badass, right? No excuses, you're gonna do it anyways. But I'm already like that. That's already my nature. I'm already an explorer. I'm already brave by nature. That has never been the problem. It has never been the problem. And even if it weren't my nature, shaming me like that, I don't think it would have worked either. And the self-discipline, again, that's something that's the only thing that I got taught, the only useful thing that I practiced since forever. So more self-discipline, when the problem is actually to allow myself to be kinder, to be gentler, to be freer, that's never gonna work. So every lesson, even if it is true, even if it could be helpful, which is said with an intention, with an energy, with a tone of self-discipline, no excuses, military, you need to do this, it has the opposite result. Using that approach nullifies the purpose, the intention. It makes it so that the message, even if there was an underlying positive message and a useful lesson and a useful message, it doesn't reach me. It cannot reach me because the covering intention, the covering attitude is just unacceptable for me. It doesn't reflect the way I am, the way I want to truly treat myself. If you switch it around, and also because it doesn't reflect the truth, it simply doesn't reflect the truth, it's simply not. The message may be true, may be right, but it doesn't, the way it is said, the way it is conveyed, doesn't reflect the truth. It implies something wrong. It has a negative connotation about me, about who I am. It implies either that I don't have the courage, or that I did something wrong, or that I need to prove something to be worthy of love and compassion. And it's the other way around. It's exactly the other way around. When I switch it, and I start from the starting point that I am already, because I am all of these things, worthy of love and compassion, then I can suggest something that can be helpful in reducing suffering and achieving joy, contentment, peace, healing, whatever it is that is helpful lesson or message is intended to help me achieve. So one example of this is, instead of using a no excusing, like saying something, the no excuses approach, you need to do that. No excuses, even if you're not feeling like this. That just doesn't, even now that I'm saying that, it doesn't make any sense, because that's not the question that my inner core, that my inner child, or that my inner me is asking. That's not what I'm asking. If I twist it around and it's like, you don't have to limit yourself just because you feel that way. You can do it if you want anyways. You are free to do it anyways, despite all of these limiting beliefs that you just listed to me. Then I can get the message, and that's the right message. That makes sense at an incredibly deep level. It is respectful of who I am, of who you are. The no excuses approach, it's implying that you're not good enough unless you do that. It's implying that you're lazy, that you're scared, or whatever. It's implying a lot of stuff. For me, that never worked because I'm none of these things. That's not the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking is, is it okay for me to do these things even though I feel this and this and that? And then as long as I don't get to this point, it's never gonna be helpful, whatever it is, even if I force myself to do something. Because through the no excuses approach, even if I do it, it won't work. Or it will work, but it will be extremely limited. It will not be a long-term shift. Because the intention behind it is not aligned with the truth. And the truth is that you are enough, that I am enough. And that implied, sneakily, subtly implied defect of character. It's not a defect of character that you have. And this is fundamental. So today I was asked about why I don't talk about reparenting, why I don't talk about inner child work. Actually, inner child work wasn't really mentioned. I'm mentioning it because reparenting clearly is inner child work. It's a huge component of inner child work. Well, because reparenting, it's very simple as an idea, right? As soon as you join ACA or CODA or whatever kind of group and community, the first thing they tell you is like we're gonna learn how to reparent ourselves, blah blah blah. Pretty easy. I mean, there's not a lot to say about that. You should reparent yourself. You had crappy parents, or not because they were bad, but basically for whatever reason they couldn't do the job properly. So you're gonna be your parent. You're gonna be reparenting. Basically means that you are your own parents, and it's true. It's absolutely true. It's fundamentally at the core of the healing process. It's absolutely crucial, and there is no denying that. I will emphasize it as much as I possibly can. But what does it mean? How do you do that in practice? It's extremely tricky. It's much trickier than one would imagine. So treat yourself with compassion. Yes, what does it mean? For me, this is one of the key examples that is an absolutely game changer. The military no excuses approach, it's extremely bullshit and damaging for me because it doesn't reflect the truth. It's like nonsense. Like someone asking, how's the weather today? And someone replying, oranges are $5 a kilo. Like, who's that Italian dude who does like what the fuck are you what are you talking about? That's not the question that you are asking, that your inner self, that your inner child is asking. And you can always tweak things around or look at them from a different perspective. And I wasn't good at that because I'd not been conditioned in that sense. I'd been conditioned to always like being an harsh critic, and because the problem was always that I wasn't tough enough. The problem was exactly the opposite of that. That I wasn't respecting myself, insisting on toughness that had no place, that had no part of the whole thing. So this worked extremely well for me, and to this day, every time that I'm struggling with something, first thing I check is this: am I telling me the wrong thing about this issue? Am I not really understanding myself? And I got so much better at this, and it helps a lot to heal and to progress. So for you, it could be the same. There is another aspect of this which has to do with empowerment, and I'm going to talk about this in my next video. Ciao.